Hi, this is Bart Sharp from Therapy for the Body, Mind, and Soul. Just sharing some stories about past clients that I have, of course confidentially. And this particular client had lots of entities. Or let me back up and tell you what was going on with this client. Her right side of her body was numb, and she was depressed, and she was just out of sorts of all things. And the numbness had shown up in the last few months, and she, for the life of her, could not figure out what it was about. So what I did, and it's oddly enough, I work with this woman on the phone. She lived 1,000 miles away, and she had been through a lot of hard times that past year. She had to go into the hospital for surgery, and she came out of the hospital taking a medication, an opiate medication, and then she had a nervous breakdown, and thus she had more medication, and she went into a mental institution for 3 months for recovery. And then when she came out of that, she went home, and her right side of her body was numb. So this kind of gave me a real good idea of what was going on, because if somebody is in a mental institution and they're in a hospital and they're also taking medications, I always look to entities as one of the possibilities that's causing their distress. And so I started reading into this woman's body, and sure enough, there were hundreds of entities on her. And what I found is not only were they just kind of all over her, but then certain entities recruited entities to stack upon her. In other words, there'd be one entity and then another and then another and another and another stacked upon her. So the power of the entity on the bottom was reinforced by all the ones that were stacked upon her, and thus creating a lot of body distress, numbness, her body just getting turned off. And the entities were having a great time because, hey, what had occurred is that when she was taking the medications, that was a vibration that her whole vitality was just getting turned off, turned down. And entities like that type of vibration. They love the vibration of alcohol, violence, anger, rage, depression. So whether the person creates that in their life or it's facilitated through the use of a substance, it attracts entities. Being that she was in a hospital, hospitals have lots of ghosts and entities in them. And therefore, I knew that was a possibility. And a mental institution has even more entities in them in general, because a lot of the people that inhabit mental institutions have lots of entities. And it just seems to be an entity hotbed because of the nature of the clientele. And it kind of perpetuates on itself. If you've ever gone into a hospital that works with mentally ill, there's always a certain energy that's chaotic, fractured, depressed, and it's because the people kind of have a relationship with the building itself that creates that energy, and it perpetuates itself, and it just gets larger and bigger through the years. And that's the beauty of doing clearings, is that you can clear this stuff out. And that's what I did with this lady. It's like within a 45 to an hour period, we were able to clear out all of those entities, and her body wasn't numb anymore within the matter of the session. And the cool thing is that as the days went by afterwards, she felt less depressed. Now, of course, she did have clinical depression along with this, so there was still the nature of depression there, but removing the entities gave her a lot of clarity and a lot of benefits, and her body felt better. So that's kind of the way some of the entities work, is by stacking on top of you. They love to hang out in places that kind of foster the entity energy, and hospitals, mental institutions, schools, bars, those type of places generally have more entities than other places. So this is Bart Sharp, Therapy for the Body, Mind, and Soul, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.